It's the first time in a decade that the city has had to impose such a significant measure in preps for the second major storm in less than a month. Now, Mayor Mamdani declared a state of emergency coupled with that all-out travel ban tonight. And a part of the ban, all city streets, highways, and bridges will be closed to non-emergency traffic beginning at 9 p.m. Now, it will remain in effect through noon tomorrow. The restriction includes cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes, with very few exemptions from essential emergency crews and critical service workers. This as millions across our region remain under blizzard warnings.
Please, for your safety, stay home, stay inside, and stay off the roads. Hazardous conditions put delivery workers, drivers, and restaurant staff at risk. If you can do so, please look out for your fellow New Yorkers and prepare meals at home until the weather improves.
Now, the impact of the storm already extending well beyond travel. The mayor announced New York Public Schools have also canceled class for tomorrow due to the effects of the storm underway. The wind, a huge factor in all of this, as officials warn of both power outages within homes and businesses, while it's also wreaking havoc on air travel with more than 7,000 flight cancellations within the region this afternoon. Now, we asked New Yorkers how they're planning to get through these blustery conditions.
I mean, I hope everyone stays safe, so if the travel ban ensures that, then I'm glad to hear it. I did my grocery shopping. Trader Joe's is busy, as you probably see, but yeah, just, stay home. I get to work from home, which helps, so I feel okay about it. I feel like we'll be prepared.
I think by Tuesday, everything's going to be totally fine. Last storm, my pipes did freeze, so I have the heaters on the pipes, but besides that, I'm not too worried.
You're already thinking about the warm-up, huh?
I'm thinking about the warm-up. I've got some steak.
Yeah, now the city's city code blue protocols are already in effect. Anybody who sees a New Yorker that needs help struggling with these conditions, you're asked to call 311. But that's the latest here in Lower Manhattan. Kendall Green, Fox 5 News. Arthur?
Hey, Kendall, I have a question for you. Did the mayor say anything about how they plan to enforce the travel ban?
Not to our knowledge as far as how they plan to, but I know essential workers, they're going to be allowed on the streets. I guess if you have some type of identification that lets them know that you are an essential worker, I'm sure that will warrant some type of pass. But how they plan to enforce it remains unclear at this point, Arthur.
All right, thanks so much, Kendall. Now, from where Kendall is, we go across the Hudson to the Garden State. They're also bracing for his snow totals there. All 21 counties, as we said, are under a blizzard warning for the first time in 30 years. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill joins us live right now. Governor Sherrill, thanks so much for being with us. What do you want the people of your state to know as this begins to set on top of us?
I want people to know that this is not a typical snowstorm. It's nothing like we've seen for almost 30 years. The last time we had all 21 counties under a blizzard warning was 1996. So we are anticipating about a foot of snow across the state, 2 feet possible along the shoreline. Heavy winds up to 60 miles per hour. And with all of that, with this heavy wet snow, because it is warmer than our last snowstorm, this will be heavy wet snow combined with incredibly high winds. We anticipate trees and branches coming down. If you see power lines down, stay away from them and please report them immediately. If your power goes out at home, report that to your utility company immediately. We have over 5,000 utility workers that are now across our state ready to get to work. We're very concerned about this storm. That is why at 3 o'clock today, a commercial vehicle ban went into effect. At 6 o'clock is when light rail, as well as buses and Access Link will be shutting down. And by 9 o'clock tonight, NJ Transit will stop service. Also, 9 o'clock tonight is when the state's travel ban goes into effect. So you need to be off the road by 9 o'clock tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And obviously, you hope not to have to enforce the travel ban, but in case people are out there, how will that be enforced? You might be stopped by some police officers, maybe ticketed, but really, I hope that's not a problem, because what we're asking is for the people of New Jersey to allow the utility workers to do their work, to keep people safe by restoring electricity. We're asking them for emergencies, people that are suffering an emergency, that they have access to the care that they need, and that our plowing and salting operations can go forward safely. This is going to be a really dangerous night. This is not something we've seen in about 30 years. We will see whiteout conditions, just to give people a sense of how dangerous this will be. In our last storm, we did not have these high winds. And At its heaviest, we had about 1 inch an hour coming down. We are now looking at incredibly high winds with about 2 to 3 inches of snow per hour. This is going to be incredibly dangerous, whiteout conditions, so please stay off the streets, allow emergency and utility workers to do the work they need to do.
And when you were briefing your state yesterday, you also expressed concerns about the Jersey Shore. Is this because it'll time out with high tide, and you were talking about flooding? What's a particular concern there?
We'll see high tides tonight between 10 and 11 in most areas of the state. There is a risk of flooding, especially given these incredibly high onshore winds. And then we also know that we'll have the heavy snow and the high tide coming in. So again, stay safe and ensure your neighbors are safe. Make sure your cell phones are charged, your car is full of fuel so that you can stay safe during this storm.
All right, Governor Mikey Sherrill, thanks so much for taking the time out to brief your state. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, now from the governor of New Jersey to the governor of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul is also asking people to stay home during the storm, which she says is expected to be not just historic, but in her words, extremely dangerous.
When you look at the scale of the storm that's descending in our state, and actually in some parts starting already, this will be something the likes of which we've not seen in years. And what we're experiencing right now with just lighter flurries throughout, particularly downstate, is really just the calm before the storm.
Hochul also says New York City, Westchester, and Long Island can expect flooding. She is sending a newly acquired snow and ice rescue vehicle, actually 2 of them, to Long Island in case people get stranded on the roads. Those vehicles hold up to 20 people in each of them. Thousands of additional utility workers, she says, are also on standby to respond if there are power outages. Meanwhile, the MTA is saying the storm will have a big impact on public transportation, obviously. Long Island Railroad announcing it will suspend all service by 1 a.m. The last trains on most branches will leave between 11 and 11:30 tonight, but certainly don't count on that. Definitely check the apps. Officials are also saying there will be changes to subway, bus service, and Access-a-Ride service, so to avoid any unnecessary travel if you can. But if you do have to go out, make sure to check the status of service ahead of time and to leave yourself a lot of time. What you will not be seeing later on tonight, well, this much speed on these roads. This is in Nassau County. This is the Nassau Intercounty Express bus. They have notified us that Nice Bus is suspending all of its service as of 9 p.m. this evening until at least tomorrow morning, approximately 9 a.m. then. In the meantime, blizzard conditions may cause delays or cancellations. Their riders are being advised to check the Nice Go Mobile app for the status of their bus. This as the Suffolk County Transit Service has also shut down system-wide. This will be in effect until Tuesday with an anticipated delayed 10 a.m. start on Tuesday. Let's go up north now. We're getting a live look at the Mario Cuomo Bridge, where traffic is relatively light today in both directions as drivers are beginning to heed the warnings and to get to where they are and to stay there. Westchester County officials have declared a state of emergency there. That includes a travel ban also set to begin at 9 p.m. this evening. That one will last at least until Monday morning at 10 a.m. During that time, only essential vehicles such as police, fire, and EMS will be allowed on the roads during that time. Let's see how New Jersey is dealing with the blizzard now that we've talked to the governor. Let's talk to Fox 5's Teresa Priolo. She is live for us in Montclair, and I see you're dressed for it, Teresa. How's it looking out there for you?
You know, I think the governor's in a little bit of a better position. I imagine she was probably inside, but we both are residing in the same town today. Yeah, hey, Arthur, good evening to you. So we are just starting to see things pick up here in Essex County in Montclair, New Jersey. For the longest time today, we've been in this holding pattern, and only about 15 minutes ago, we started to see the roads start to become pretty slick. Like literally, they are slick even just standing on the roads, and you're starting to see some of the snow coat the roads here. This is Bloomfield Ave, which is a main thoroughfare Montclair, here in Montclair in Essex County. Lots of salt spreaders are out, lots of trucks are out, and at this hour, still a lot of people are out. We know, though, that the worst is, in fact, ahead of us. As the governor mentioned, the entire state under a blizzard warning. This is the worst anticipated storm since 1996. She mentioned that the commercial vehicle ban took effect at 3 o'clock, that NJ Transit buses and light rail is going to stop running in about 45 minutes at 6 p.m. And at 9 o'clock tonight, the NJ Transit trains will stop too. The focus is getting people home and then getting everybody to stay home until this behemoth of a storm passes.
Plans were made, the snow came after, so we didn't change our plans. So far so good, it's not sticking, so we are going to enjoy it till it starts sticking. Then we'll be home.
I'm not worried. I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone, and I wish everyone luck. And
What's your game plan for tonight? Are you just going to cook dinner at home and just kind of relax?
Totally hanging at home. I mean, I have warm, beautiful heat, and I'm blessed to have hot water. I might take a bath.
Does that guy have it figured out or what? Okay, in terms of the numbers, based on what the governor was telling us in her last major briefing, 101,000 tons of salt for the Turnpike and the Parkway alone, 35,000 tons of salt reserved for all the state's other major roadways. They have thousands of crews on standby. So, Arthur, by what the state is telling us, they are ready for this storm. Now, all of us need to do our part, stay off the roads, so that when this snow really does start to pick up, and in fact you can see by my coat that it is starting, that the crews can come through and clear it out of the way so that we're not stuck in this sort of never-ending pattern of being stuck in our homes while they try to clear this out. That's the latest from Essex County tonight. Montclair, New Jersey. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Teresa Priolo, thank you so much. Let's turn our attention now to the airports. This is a live look at Newark Liberty International Airport. Can't make much of it there, and that's part of the visibility issue that a lot of officials are concerned about, not just on the roads, but for air travel apparently as well. The storm is having a major impact on air travel. According to FlightAware, hundreds of flights have already been canceled or delayed at Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia, and nationally, thousands of flights have been impacted. We are asking you, meanwhile, to send us pictures and videos of what it looks like where you are. A lot of this can be localized, and we'd like to understand where the storm is hitting harder than in other parts of our viewing area. So just scan this QR code right now, send in your photos and videos, and you might even see them on the Fox Local app or on our coverage on Fox 5 News. And if you're the predicting type, we are also asking you at home to tell us how much snow you think you are going to get in your area before all is said and done. Again, there's a QR code for that, or you can go to fox5ny.com/connect to share your prediction. Our winter weather alert coverage is just getting started. We got a lot to get through. Up next, we're heading back to New Jersey as we are joined by the Bergen County executive.
Where every
Snow has been coming down in parts of our area for several hours at this point. This is a live look down on the shore at Ocean City, New Jersey. And while this is clearer than some shots like that we just showed you of Newark Airport, there's still a lot of snow that's begun to accumulate. And with that, we get to Bergen County, New Jersey right now, where they're bracing for as much as 2 feet of snow. Joining us live is the Bergen County Executive, James Tedesco. Sir, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What's it looking like? What are you expecting there, sir?
So, well, you said it. That we'll see if the predictions turn out that way. If it does, it will be one of the bigger snowstorms we've had. 96 was really the biggest in the last 20, 30 years. But we're ready to go. We have over 110 people, men and women, out. We started at 3 o'clock. We have 90 plow vehicles ready to go. We're staggering shifts starting at 3 o'clock. And we're ready to go through the night. We ask the public to cooperate with us. No need to go in your car and get in the car and drive around, because you're not going to be able to move, and there's nothing really going to be open. So enjoy the time with your family and stay off the roads. Give us a chance to get them clean. We're going to be working towards a Tuesday rush hour. The way the timing looks now is tomorrow, with everything closed, we shouldn't have a rush, so we'll be able to really work on getting the streets opened and salted, and then have a normal rush hour on Tuesday morning.
Now, are you more concerned in your area? Both our meteorologist, Audrey Puente, and your Governor, Mikey Sherrill, just emphasizing that you could see flooding along the coastline. Is that a concern where you are?
Yeah, that's one of the three. It's one of the three concerns that we have, along with the snow and the drifting and the high winds, power outages and some tree limbs. But we have a tidal basin, the Hackensack River tidal basin down in the southern part of the county, where that's all tidal water, and a lot of that is just earth and berms that holds the water back. So we're going to be watching the next 2 high tide cycles because the wind is going to push the water on shore, and they're expecting 2 to 3 feet higher than normal tides. So we have some very low-lying area down there. Actually, they're at sea level. So that's going to be one of the concerns we have tonight, and then tomorrow with the next high tide. So our emergency operations center is open. If anybody has any issues, they should call their local 911 or the county, and we'll work with our local first responders.
All right. Good luck over the next few hours or 24 hours. Bergen County Executive James Tedesco, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the snow is impacting the entire tri-state area, and it's bringing snow and heavy winds. Audrey Puente is going to be back with the latest on it.
weather alert.
Good evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Audrey Puente. We are tracking a dangerous winter storm affecting the tri-state area, not only through tonight, but also through your Monday. Right now, we're tracking snow that it's enveloped across much of the region, and we're seeing some darker shaded tones indicating some steadier snowfall. And we'll see those snowfall rates kind of increase as we go through tonight. We could have upwards of 1 to 3 inches of snowfall per hour as the storm intensifies. You can see a lot of moisture kind of working its way in from south to north here. The center of the storm system, though, will be just offshore, and as it intensifies tonight, we're going to see the snow really pile up and will be close to a foot or more in many spots across the region here. Now, we keep talking about that it's going to be a blizzard, and we do expect blizzard-like conditions across the region. So what is a blizzard? Well, a blizzard is a storm with large amounts of snow or blowing snow. Winds will be in excess of 35 miles per hour. Visibility will be less than a quarter of a mile for at least 3 hours. And again, all of these criteria need to last for at least 3 hours to define it as a blizzard, and that is what we're expecting as we go through tonight and even into tomorrow morning. So let's talk about the winds. The wind speeds will be gradually increasing as the storm intensifies. We'll have sustained winds between 20 and 30 miles per hour. However, the wind gusts will be even higher than that. We are looking at close to hurricane force wind gusts as we go into tomorrow morning. Here we are at 8 a.m. and across Long Island, where we'll see the strongest winds will be up to 71 mile per hour. Wind gusts for East Hampton, 57 in Islip. And right here in New York City, we're expecting wind gusts at 8 a.m. tomorrow near 50 miles per hour. So that's going to allow for a lot of blowing and drifting snow and, of course, reducing visibilities. And that's going to last for several hours. And that's why we're classifying this as a blizzard. Now, flooding will also be a threat across parts of the region here, mostly along the coastal shore points. That's where we have a coastal flood warning in effect here for Long Island, the 5 boroughs, as well as all of the Jersey Shore here. A strong northeast wind flow is going to result in flooding. We'll talk more about this coming up. Arthur?
All right, thanks so much, Audrey. We are just in the middle of our winter weather alert coverage. We're going to be right back with the latest storm headlines.
Unraveling. News.
Dangerous and deadly conditions for a second time in as many months. New York City is in a rare blizzard warning affecting all 5 boroughs, something that has not happened in nearly a decade. Welcome back to our extended winter weather alert coverage. I'm Arthur Chien. The storm is bringing with it the potential for heavy snow, strong winds, and even flooding in parts of our area. Let's take a live look outside. This is along eastern Long Island, where Audrey Puente just said they might see wind gusts of over 70 miles per hour. The road conditions there are already worsening very quickly as the snow has begun to accumulate. Audrey Puente is here now with more on our forecast. Hi, Audrey.
Hi there, Arthur. And yes, we are expecting a snowstorm for the history books. In fact, we're expecting a blizzard across the region, and that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue a blizzard warning for the entire tri-state area. So that includes the entire state of New Jersey, all of Long Island, the 5 boroughs of New York City, all of the state of Connecticut, and all of the Hudson Valley, too. A winter storm warning extends further off to the north here in upstate New York, as well as portions of Pennsylvania, and we are expecting very hazardous travel and travel conditions as we go through Monday afternoon. All right, here's a look at the snowfall. We started off as rain earlier, but now we're seeing snow overspread the region here. And where you see the darker shaded tones, that's where it's coming down at a pretty good clip. And we're going to start to see things really pile up as temperatures continue to drop below the freezing mark and the storm intensifies just offshore. So there's a lot of moisture to work with here. The dynamics are also increasing in intensity. So we're going to see really powerful system affect us later on tonight as well as into the overnight hours. So we're expecting snow intensity to increase overnight. Snowfall rates will be up to 3 inches per hour during the height of the storm later this evening. Blizzard conditions are expected right through Monday afternoon because we'll have very windy conditions, and it will be very dangerous to impossible to travel across the entire tri-state area during this time frame. Strong to damaging wind gusts could also result in down power lines as well as down trees, which could also hit the power line. So power outages will also be a problem as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours or so. Now, snowfall amounts will range anywhere from, let's say, about 10 inches to almost 2 feet across parts of the area. The highest amounts are expected across Long Island and along the Jersey Shore. Now, we are also anticipating flooding to be an issue across the region with a strong northeast wind, and those winds will be very blustery, in fact, close to tropical storm force just for sustained winds, and wind gusts will be close to hurricane force as we go into tomorrow. So expect wind gusts anywhere between 40 to almost 70 miles per hour across the region. As a result, we'll have blowing and drifting snow, which will reduce visibilities and make travel very, very hazardous. We'll talk more about it coming up. Arthur?
All right, thanks so much, Audrey. Well, the blizzard conditions we're about to see in the city is something the city has not witnessed in about a decade. If you are even thinking about driving tonight, the fact is that you will not be able to see out your windshield, part of the reason for a car ban that has been ordered by the mayor of the city. Fox 5's Kendall Green is live in Lower Manhattan with more on this. Good evening, Kendall.
Hey, good evening, Arthur. We're seeing DSNY crews pick up the pace here at Canal Street, where they're getting these salt trucks loaded, these plow trucks ready, because as you mentioned, that travel ban is going to take effect. So if you haven't gotten your essential goods, that travel ban goes into effect tonight at 9 p.m. Now, let's take a look at some of the video that we shot for you earlier today. Now, with the impact of the storm already extending well beyond the travel, and we're going to get back to that travel ban in just a second, but it's the first time in a decade the city has had to impose such a significant measure, and we know how dangerous and deadly the snowstorm has been just a few weeks ago. New Yorkers with no place to go unfortunately suffered, and within the city, in response, they say that they're stepping up their effort with code blue measures, canvassing all 5 boroughs 24/7 and helping homeless New Yorkers get inside. Now, Mayor Mamdani shares since last night they were able to secure dozens of placements, bringing homeless New Yorkers into safety. Also sharing there's no reason for anyone to be left outside in these blustery conditions.
Every New Yorker seeking warmth and shelter will be able to find it in our city. We have 22 warming buses, 11 health and hospitals warming spaces, and 13 school warming centers open across our city. We have also redeployed our health and hospitals mobile warming unit to provide medical attention, food, and additional support to those who need it.
Now back to that travel ban we were just mentioning. It's the first time in a decade the city has had to impose such a significant measure in preps for the second major storm in less than a month. Mayor Mamdani declared a state of emergency coupled with the all-out travel ban tonight. A part of that ban, all city streets, highways, and bridges will be closed to non-emergency traffic beginning at 9 p.m. and it will remain in effect through noon tomorrow. Now the restrictions include cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes with very few exemptions for essential emergency crews. Now we asked some New Yorkers how they're planning to get through these blustery conditions as well.
I I mean, I hope everyone stays safe. So if the travel ban ensures on, then I'm glad to hear it. I did my grocery shopping. Trader Joe's is busy, as you probably see. But yeah, I'll just, stay home. I get to work from home, which helps. So I feel okay about it. I feel like we'll be prepared.
I think by Tuesday everything's going to be totally fine. Last storm my pipes did freeze, so I have the heaters on the pipes, but besides that, I'm not too worried.
You're already thinking about the warm-up, huh?
I'm thinking about the warm-up.
Now, within just the last 30 minutes, we're already starting to see this snow stick a lot more than it was 30 minutes ago, and it's just a tip of the iceberg of what we expected later in the evening. But back to the travel ban and that cold blue effect. If you see any New Yorkers in need of shelter or somewhere to go in these conditions, you're asked to dial 311 to assist them. But this latest here in Lower Manhattan. Kendall Green, Fox 5 News. Arthur?
All right, thank you, Kendall. Again, city officials are reassuring the public tonight that the city is fully prepared for the storm with thousands of sanitation workers, hundreds of salt spreaders, and new strategies to keep streets clear. Fox 5's Michelle Ross is outside NYC Emergency Management Headquarters in Brooklyn with that part of our coverage.
Sanitation says that their response to this storm has been well underway, with crews preparing days in advance to make sure that the streets and the sidewalks are passable and safe. In the last 24 hours, crews have fitted all sanitation vehicles with plows and chains ready to deploy the second conditions turn from rain to snow. More than 700 salt spreaders are standing by, and the city says it has hundreds of millions of pounds of salt on hand. Officials say weather conditions are expected to favor salt effectiveness, helping prevent ice from building up on the roadways. The number of emergency snow shovelers has nearly tripled from about 500 during the last storm to 1,400 this time around. And it's all hands on deck. Crews from other city agencies, including DOT, Parks, DEP, and NYPD, are also assisting with snow clearing operations. And of course, New York's strongest is always reliable.
We are in full force operation now. At 6 a.m. this morning, 2,600 sanitation workers reported to their garages, and they will work until 6 p.m. tonight, when an additional crews of 2,600 sanitation workers will report for another 12-hour overnight shift, and we'll continue this on. These 12-hour shifts will continue as long as necessary to get our city moving safely.
And summonses will be issued to property owners who do not clear the sidewalks in front of their properties of at least 4 feet to make room for wheelchairs and strollers. And if there is an unsheltered bus stop and curb ramp in front of their property, they're responsible for that too. Reporting outside OEM headquarters in Brooklyn, Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
And New York State Governor Kathy Hochul is also emphasizing that people should stay home during this storm, which she says is expected to be historic and uniquely dangerous.
When you look at the scale of the storm that's descending in our state, and actually in some parts starting already, this will be something the likes of which we've not seen in years. And what we're experiencing right now, with just lighter flurries throughout, particularly downstate, is really just the calm before the storm.
Hochul also says New York City, Westchester, and Long Island should also be on the lookout for flooding. She is sending newly acquired snow and ice rescue vehicles to Long Island in case people get stranded on the road so they can be evacuated. It can hold up to 20 people per vehicle. Thousands of additional utility workers, she says, are also standing by now to respond. The MTA, meanwhile, says the storm will have an impact on mass transit. Long Island Railroad already announcing it will suspend all service by 1 a.m. tonight. The last of their trains on most branches will leave between 11 and 11:30 tonight. Officials also say there will be changes to subway, bus, and Access-a-Ride service, so it is best to avoid any unnecessary travel. They say, however, if you must go out, to be sure to check the service status before you leave. And let's see how they're coping with the storm in New Jersey. Fox 5's Teresa Priolo is in Montclair, where earlier today the snow wasn't sticking, but it looks like it's beginning to stick now. Hi, Teresa.
Yeah, things have gone downhill a little bit, Arthur, since we talked to you last, which was only about a half hour ago. I also want to mention to you, you may hear a loudspeaker. There is a police officer around the corner who is saying that all vehicles need to be off the public roads so that they are clear for people as this snow starts to fall. It's the first time that we have heard that, but that is the announcement that is being made, and they're driving around saying that here in Montclair. Let me step out of the way so you can see what is behind me, which is Bloomfield Avenue, main thoroughfare here in Essex County. The snow has really started to fall here in earnest. It started sticking around 5 o'clock, and it's just picking up, but it is slowing traffic down as well. This, as we know, that the worst of this storm is only ahead of us. The governor was mentioning earlier the entire state is under a blizzard warning. This is anticipated to be one of the worst storms in New Jersey since 1996. Now, the state has 101,000 tons of salt reserved just for the Turnpike and the Parkway alone, 35,000 tons of salt for all of the other state roads, and thousands of crews on standby. The focus now is on getting everybody home and keeping everybody home until this behemoth of the storm passes.
I'm looking forward to a snow day. I hope we don't.
You're chilling. We're chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling. We're chilling.
We're not worried.
Bundle up, stay warm, get a good blanket. Exciting times. A movie,
show that you're catching up on.
Yeah, anything to avoid the roads.
Honestly, I really want to start Heated Rivalry.
That's going to take her a little bit of time, but she's probably going to enjoy that one. Listen, this is, of course, not the first snowstorm for the majority of people here in New Jersey. So they are used to this. They do know what to do. They're going to be following those best practices. They do understand that when the governor says stay off the roads, she means it. If the last storm that we had was any sort of indication of how crews are handling things, they were really able to get our main roads cleared quite quickly after the snow started to fall. Of course, this is going to be so much more snow than that, but we're hoping that if we don't see such deep temperatures in the days after the storm, that maybe they're able to do just as good of a job with this one once the snow stops falling tomorrow. That's the latest from Essex County tonight. And the wind is picking up, as you could probably see. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, hopefully this one does melt. All right, thanks so much, Teresa. Fox 5's continuing coverage of this second massive storm of the year continues. After the short break, Audrey Puente is going to be back with the latest on the path it's taking.
Breaking news.
We're taking a live look at Times Square right now, and the visibility is down. There's still some activity out there, but we are in the clutches of yet another major winter storm. This one we now face is projected to be even worse than the storm that we dealt with last month. Let's bring in meteorologist Audrey Puente with the latest on our forecast. Hi, Audrey.
Hey, Arthur, and let's talk about why that is. It's because with this storm, we're expecting very strong gusty winds, and that's going to result in blowing and drifting snow, resulting in reduced visibilities. We didn't really have that in the last storm that we came across the region here, so that's going to make this one way more intense than the one we experienced earlier this winter here. Let's talk about flooding. This is also a component we need to be aware of. There's a coastal flood warning in effect here for Long Island, the 5 boroughs of New York City, southern portions of Westchester here, and in the entire Jersey Shore. At the times of high tide, starting with tonight's high tide cycle as well as in a Monday morning cycle, that's when we're expecting moderate flooding. It could be widespread moderate flooding along our shore points here. And again, the timing will be through to Monday morning's high tide cycle. Dune erosion will also be likely. We could also have some overwashes that will be possible. High seas are expected on all area waters, and that also includes the Long Island Sound. We're going to have a very strong northeasterly wind flow that's going to result in flooding along the north shore as well as a lot of the bays. So if you're in an area that's usually prone to flooding during these types of storms, be aware that that will be a real threat for you as we move along through tonight and into tomorrow. Let's talk temperatures now. They've been falling all day long, and now we're below freezing in many spots, including right now in Central Park where it's 31. We have 31 in Islip, 32 down in Belmar. A lot of folks are near the freezing mark, and that's why we're seeing all snow across the region. Now, all these temperatures are running much colder than they were at this time yesterday. It was a bit more comfortable across the region on our Saturday. Wind speeds are now starting to increase too. We're sustained winds between 10 and 20 miles per hour, but the gusts are even higher. We are gusting now to 31 miles per hour in Central Park, 26 in Islip, and 28 in Belmar. As a result, the snow is already blowing across the region, so visibilities have now been reduced to a mile or less in and around the city, even up towards White Plains into northwest New Jersey. Still faring pretty well across Poughkeepsie and Monticello, but as conditions deteriorate, the visibility will be reduced down to a quarter of a mile or less as we go through tonight and into the first hour of the days tomorrow on Monday morning. Here's a look at the radar now. We can see lots of snow coming in here with darker shaded tones now working their way into the region. So the snowfall will become more intense as we go through the next several hours here. And that's when it's really going to start to pile up. I know a lot of folks have been actually asking me directly, where's the snow? Why isn't it piling up? It will be over the next several hours, and we will definitely be waking up with an intense blanket across the entire region here. So look at the futurecast. I want to show a lot of the darker shaded tones now pushing their way up towards the Hudson Valley into all of New Jersey here right around 9 o'clock. And then as we go towards the midnight hour, you can see it gets even more intense here overnight across the city, a lot of the Jersey Shore, the entirety of Long Island, as well as pushing into Connecticut and the Hudson Valley here. Now, the storm center will be sitting offshore, but you can see on the back side of it here, it gets really intense as we go into the pre-dawn hours tomorrow. So the snow is really going to pile up, especially across the Jersey Shore and Long Island. This is where we're expecting close to 2 feet before it's all said and done. And when will that be? That'll probably be Monday afternoon here. That's when things start to quiet down. The low exits out to the east here, and gradually we'll see improvement as we move along through the rest of the afternoon. So after that, it turns quite cold and windy for Tuesday with a high of 30 degrees, and then we're in the 40s for the rest of the week. Arthur, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Audrey. Well, we've been talking about the tri-state and how it's being impacted by these winter conditions. But coming back, we're going to take a look at how much of the East Coast is expected to be blanketed by snow this round. Coming back live now with a look at the conditions in Montclair, New Jersey. The governor of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, ordering a travel ban that goes into effect in a couple of hours. Only at that point, essential vehicles are allowed to be on these roads where we see the snow is now beginning to accumulate. We are in the middle of yet another potentially dangerous and even deadly winter storm. This marks the second one of 2026. And we are not the only ones dealing with this extreme winter weather. In all, tens of millions of Americans tonight are under blizzard warnings. Correspondent Brian Lennis shows us how the rest of the East Coast is expected to fare.
Millions of Americans along the East Coast bracing for heavy snow and damaging winds as blizzard warnings go into effect from Maryland to Maine.
We expect to see whiteout conditions, near zero visibility. There will be a strong likelihood of power outages and downed trees.
After forecasters initially believed this storm would have a limited impact, they are now warning it could become one of the most significant snow events in years. Up to 1 or 2 feet of snowfall is possible in some areas. Officials now urging residents to take this one seriously and stay home.
I ask you to stay off the roads, particularly when the snow begins, so that the plows can get out there, clear the roads, and get you back moving as quickly as possible.
States of emergency were issued in New York and New Jersey and have now expanded to include Connecticut, Delaware, and Massachusetts. And while the storm's impact will be wide-reaching, the worst is expected to hit New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia. New York City has not faced a storm of this scale in the last decade. In New York City, the mayor announcing a travel ban starting Sunday night at 9 p.m. All New York City public schools are canceled for Monday, including remote learning. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, the Department of Transportation has issued restrictions for travel on interstate highways.
This is likely to be the worst storm that we have seen since 1996. The worst is expected overnight into tomorrow morning, when snowfalls could reach as much as 3 inches per hour.
Air travel also getting hit hard by this blizzard. More than 11,000 flight cancellations and delays through Tuesday. At New York's LaGuardia Airport, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
We are going to take a brief break, and when we come back, Audrey Puente is going to be back with the latest on this massive blizzard.
Moments.
weather alert.
And we are tracking a blizzard affecting the tri-state area tonight, right through your Monday, too. Snow has enveloped much across the region here. We're seeing the darker shaded tones where the more intense snowfall is now starting to work its way in along the coast and around New Jersey and Long Island. Now it's working its way northward into Westchester and Rockland counties, as well as coastal Connecticut. And that will generally be the trend as we move along through the rest of the evening. The low is still sitting just to our south and our southeast, but it will be intensifying over the next several hours. And we are expecting our conditions to deteriorate rapidly as we go through the rest of the evening here. Here it plays out on our futurecast. The darker shaded tones again pinwheeling their way inland here. So we're going to start to see snowfall rates of 1 to 3 inches per hour in areas across New Jersey, up towards the Hudson Valley, Long Island, and yes, including the 5 boroughs of New York City. Now, the center of the low pressure center will be offshore, but it's going to intensify rapidly. And as a result, we're going to see a lot of snow developing across the region here, and it will really pile up as we go through the overnight hours. Here we are at 5 a.m. tomorrow. It's still snowing heavily across much of the region here, and that will continue early in the morning hours here, right through late morning. Lunchtime is when we'll finally start to see the intensity gradually begin to wind down. The low will move its way eastward, affecting mostly New England at this point. And then as we go towards the afternoon, we'll see things kind of quiet down rapidly after about 2 or 3 o'clock, and we could even see the sun breaking through the clouds before it sets tomorrow evening. Now, keep in mind, not only are we going to have the intense snowfall rates, we're also going to have some very strong winds, which will blow the snow around, and as a result, we'll have visibilities down to 1/4 mile or less across the tri-state area. And then as we go into Tuesday, things will be much quieter, but it will be cold. Temperatures will only be at about 30 degrees for a high temperature then. Looking at our snowfall, we're expecting upwards of about 2 feet across parts of the region. Most of that will be happening across Long Island and the Jersey Shore here. Cold and windy as we go into Tuesday. That high of 30 will feel more like 20. We have another round of snow early in the morning on Wednesday, and then it turns to rain by the afternoon, and we'll see rain again by Thursday. Arthur, over to you.
All right, Audrey, thank you so much. And with this storm intensifying, we are staying on. Our special Fox 5 storm coverage continues live after this break. It's deja vu all over again. A massive storm is sitting over our area right now, and it is in the process of intensifying. Officials warn this one is a potentially life-threatening weather event. The blizzard is stretching across the tri-state area at this hour. When it is over, it is expected to be one for the history books. And this is a live look outside This is eastern Long Island right now, I believe, where the roads are beginning to see accumulation stick after having for several hours today snow, but warm enough temperatures that it was melting. It's no longer melting now. In the city, public schools, private schools, and schools in the New York Archdiocese system announcing closures for tomorrow. And the city is now taking the extraordinary step, ordering a full travel ban for all vehicles beginning tonight. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of Fox 5 News. I'm Arthur Chian. Let's get to the latest at this hour. State of emergencies have been declared for 22 counties in New York. They include all 5 boroughs in the city, Long Island, and also parts of the Hudson Valley. And across the Hudson, a state of emergency has been declared for all of New Jersey's 21 counties. Meanwhile, in Connecticut, a state of emergency has gone into effect there. The rails are already impacted, with LIR preparing to shut down service tonight by 1 a.m. Metro North saying that they will start running hourly service on some lines and weekend service on others. And that will be the case all day tomorrow. As for New Jersey Transit, the governor of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, just on Fox 5 announcing they will be suspending service as of 9 p.m. tonight. And back in the city, alternate side of the street parking rules are suspended for tomorrow, Monday. We have Fox 5 live team coverage tonight. We begin with meteorologist Audrey Puente to talk about the timing as this intensifies and how much snow we are now expecting to get. Hi, Audrey.
Good evening, Arthur, and good evening, everyone. We definitely have a strong storm that will be affecting the tri-state area from now right through your afternoon on Monday. The National Weather Service has all of the tri-state area under a blizzard warning right through Monday afternoon, and we also have winter storm warnings for areas just to our north and west here, like across into Pennsylvania, into the Poconos, and into upstate New York. But it's really the blizzard warning that we're concerned with. It encompasses the entire tri-state area. It has slowly been expanding over the last 24 to 36 hours here. A look at the satellite radar shows the snow that has now enveloped most of the tri-state area at the moment. Where we see the darker shaded tones, that's where we're seeing the most intense snowfall rates happening right now. And that's across Long Island into parts of New Jersey as well. And that's also where we're expecting the highest snowfall totals before it's all said and done. There's a lot of moisture to work with here. The snow is really starting to get its act together, so we'll start to see a pile up as we go into the next several hours. The area of low pressure, or the center of the storm, will be sitting just to our southeast here, but it seems in the latest model runs it's pushing just a little bit further to the southeast, a little bit away from the coast. So that means we're going to see a sharp cutoff in totals north and west of the city. So we're expecting snowfall rates between 1 to possibly 3 inches per hour as we go into tonight. As a result, we'll have blizzard conditions across the entire region right through into your Monday. Dangerous to impossible travel will be likely across the entire region here, as we'll have strong to damaging wind gusts, which will result in blowing and drifting snow, reducing visibility down to a quarter of a mile or less, making hazardous travel throughout the entire region. Now, when it's all said and done, as I mentioned earlier, we're expecting the highest snowfall totals across Long Island, where we could see close to 2 feet of snow. The same thing will happen across New Jersey, just inside of the Jersey Shore, and even into upstate New York here. White Plains expecting about 19 inches, and we'll even go as far north as Poughkeepsie with about 1.5 feet before it's all said and done. Coastal flooding will also be an issue at the times of high tide. We'll talk more about this coming up. Arthur?
Thank you so much, Audrey. Well, the city is about to see blizzard conditions that New Yorkers have not witnessed in a decade. If you are even thinking about driving tonight, there is a warning you will not be able to see out your windshield. That is part of the reason for a car ban that has been ordered. Fox 5's Kendall Green is live in Lower Manhattan with details on when it goes into effect and everything else. Good evening, Kendall.
Hi, good evening, Arthur. If you haven't gotten out and gotten all those needs that you need, you have about 3 hours to do it, because conditions will go from dangerous to nearly impossible tonight as this weather sets in. But now the city is imposing a travel ban that takes effect tonight at 9 p.m. Now, but first, we want to talk to you about Code Blue. We know how dangerous and deadly this snowstorm was just about a few weeks ago. So for New Yorkers who have no place to go, the city has a response in place. They say they're stepping up their efforts with Code Blue measures, canvassing all 5 boroughs 24/7 and helping homeless New Yorkers get inside of somewhere warm. Now, Mayor Mamdani shares they were able to secure dozens of placements, bringing homeless New Yorkers inside to safety, sharing there's no reason for anyone to be left outside in these conditions.
Every New Yorker seeking warmth and shelter will be able to find it in our city. We have 22 warming buses, 11 health and hospitals warming spaces, and 13 school warming centers open across our city. We have also redeployed our health and hospitals mobile warming unit to provide medical attention, food, and additional support to those who need it.
Now back to that travel ban. It's the first time in a decade the city has had to impose such significant measures in preps for the second major storm in less than a month. Mayor Mamdani declared a state of emergency coupled with the all-out travel ban tonight. A part of that ban, all city streets, highways, and bridges will be closed to non-emergency traffic beginning at 9 p.m. It will remain in effect through noon tomorrow. Now, the restriction includes cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes, with very few exemptions for essential emergency crews and critical service workers. New Yorkers, they shared how they're planning to cope with these conditions.
I hope everyone stays safe. So if the travel ban ensures on, then I'm glad to hear it. I did my grocery shopping. Trader Joe's is busy, as you probably see. But yeah, just stay home. I get to work from home, which helps. So I feel okay about it. I feel like we'll be prepared.
Now, the mayor went on to add, if you see anybody outside in these conditions that need shelter, that need warmth, you're encouraged to call 311. No one will be denied shelter during these conditions. But this is the latest here in Lower Manhattan. Kendall Green, Fox 5 News. Arthur?
All right, Kendall, thank you. Meanwhile, city officials tonight are reassuring New Yorkers that the city is fully prepared for the storm, with thousands of sanitation workers, hundreds of salt spreaders, and new strategies to keep the streets clear. Fox 5's Michelle Ross reports from NYC EM headquarters in Brooklyn.
Sanitation says that their response to this storm has been well underway, with crews preparing days in advance to make sure that the streets and the sidewalks are passable and safe. In the last 24 hours, crews have fitted all sanitation vehicles with plows and chains ready to deploy the second conditions turn from rain to snow. More than 700 salt spreaders are standing by, and the city says it has hundreds of millions of pounds of salt on hand. Officials say weather conditions are expected to favor salt effectiveness, helping prevent ice from building up on the roadways. The number of emergency snow shovelers has nearly tripled from about 500 during the last storm to 1,400 this time around. And it's all hands on deck. Crews from other city agencies, including DOT, Parks, DEP, and NYPD, are also assisting with snow clearing operations. And of course, New York's strongest is always reliable.
We are in full force operation now. At 6 a.m. this morning, 2,600 sanitation workers reported to their garages, and they will work until 6 p.m. tonight, when an additional crews of 2,600 sanitation workers will report for another 12-hour overnight shift, and we'll continue this on. These 12-hour shifts will continue as long as necessary to get our city moving safely.
And summonses will be issued to property owners who do not clear the sidewalks in front of their properties of at least 4 feet to make room for wheelchairs and strollers. And if there is an unsheltered bus stop and curb ramp in front of their property, they're responsible for that too. Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
From New York City to New York State, Governor Kathy Hochul is asking people to stay home during the storm, which she says is expected to be historic and uniquely dangerous.
When you look at the scale of the storm that's descending in our state, and actually in some parts starting already, this will be something the likes of which we've not seen in years. And what we're experiencing right now, with just lighter flurries throughout, particularly downstate, is really just the calm before the storm.
Governor Hochul also warning that Westchester and Long Island and New York City should expect flooding. She is sending a newly acquired snow and ice rescue vehicles to Long Island in case people there get stranded on the roads. Each of the vehicles holds up to 20 people. Separately, thousands of additional utility workers, she says, are now on standby to respond. Now, we can expect big impacts to public transportation. That is according to the MTA. Long Island Railroad already announcing it will be suspending all of its service by 1 a.m. tonight. The last of their trains on most branches will leave between 11 and 11:30 this evening. So far, subway service changes have been announced for the 2, 3, 4, 5, A and D and Q lines, as well as buses, Metro North, Railroad and Access-a-Ride. Let's see how New Jersey is dealing with the blizzard. For a touchback on that, we go to Fox 5's Teresa Priolo. She's been live for us in Montclair. Hi, Teresa.
Yeah, hi, Arthur. I'm amazed by how many people we are still seeing on the roads. I mean, as you can see, probably the snow is definitely coming down, and it is intensifying. A far different picture now than what we showed you at even just 5 o'clock. You can see it on the roads. You can see it on my jacket. But yet people are out and about, and they don't appear to be taking the road slow. They're going what appears to be a normal speed here. But also, as you can see here on Bloomfield Ave, the plows and the salt spreaders are out as well. So it really has begun in earnest here in Essex County. It started sticking around 5 o'clock, and it is intensifying. This as the buses stopped, the NJ Transit buses stopped at 6, and now the governor said that New Jersey Transit trains are shutting down at 9 p.m. This as the worst of this storm is ahead of us. Now, as the governor mentioned to us earlier, the entire state is under a blizzard warning. It's anticipated to be one of the worst storms that the Garden State has seen since the late 90s. The state has 101,000 tons of salt on standby for the Turnpike and the Parkway, and 35,000 tons of salt available for all other state roads. They are telling everybody to get home, to stay home until this behemoth of a storm passes.
9 o'clock tonight is when the state's travel ban goes into effect. So you need to be off the road by 9 o'clock tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
What's your game plan for tonight? Are you just going to cook dinner at home and just kind of relax?
Totally hanging at home. I mean, I have warm, beautiful heat, and I'm blessed to have hot water. I might take a bath.
I'm looking forward to a snow day. I hope we don't.
You're chilling. We're chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling.
That's just sort of the vibe here in Montclair. People are taking this in stride. I don't know if it's because it's happening on a Sunday and school has already been canceled for Monday. People are going to work remotely tomorrow as well. We are seeing, again, Arthur, people out and about finishing those last-minute errands, but the roads definitely have changed significantly in just the last hour. And as Audrey has been telling us and as we have been telling you, it is only going to intensify as the night drags on. That's the latest from Montclair tonight. We'll send things back to you.
All right, Teresa Friolo, thank you so much. Our special Fox 5 winter weather alert coverage continues, so stay with us for the latest. Audrey Puente has been busy tracking this bomb cyclone that has begun now. She joins us next.
Bring a little joy to
Well, here's a live look at what is going on in our area right now. One side on the roads, on the other side, Times Square. It looks like traffic is lightening up a little bit, a little less activity than last time we checked about 30 minutes ago. And the roads, you're beginning to see accumulation there. Audrey Puente has been the busiest person in our newsroom probably all of 2026. How's it looking for us, Audrey?
Oh, well, it's going to be a very busy night for sure for everybody, Arthur. We're expecting a blizzard to move across the tri-state area, and we're seeing our conditions rapidly deteriorate as we move along through our Sunday evening here. So we have a blizzard warning in effect for the entire tri-state area, and we keep talking about a blizzard. So what exactly is that? Well, a blizzard is a storm with large amounts of snow or blowing snow. We usually see winds in excess of 35 miles per hour. Visibilities reduced to about a quarter of a mile or less, and all of these conditions have to last for at least 3 consecutive hours in order to be classified as a blizzard. That's exactly what we're expecting as we go through the rest of the evening, and our conditions worsen over the next several hours here. Now, flooding will also be an issue out of this storm. We are expecting a very strong wind coming in off the north and northeast corridor here, and that's going to result in flooding along the area coastlines here. So that's why we have a coastal flood warning in effect for all of Long Island, the 5 boroughs of New York City, heading up towards Westchester and southern Fairfield County too, and the entire Jersey Shore. This is for the times of high tide starting tonight's high tide cycle right through Monday morning, and that's when you can expect widespread moderate coastal flooding. Dune erosion will be likely. We'll also have localized overwash possible across parts of the area, and high seas expected on all waters, and that also includes the Long Island Sound. Again, a strong northeasterly wind will result in flooding, especially across Long Island on the North Shore as well as the bays. So if you're in an area that's usually prone to flooding, be aware that this could be a hazard for you as we go through the rest of tonight and tomorrow, right during the high tide cycles. Let's talk temperatures now. They've been falling over the last several hours. We're now below freezing here in the city, 31 right now in Islip, 32 in East Hampton. So the entire region is definitely cold enough for snow, and that's exactly what we're seeing across the region. Now, temperatures are much colder than they were at this time yesterday, and our winds are now starting to increase too. These are the sustained winds between 15 to 20 miles per hour on average. However, the gusts are as high now as 32 miles per hour in Central Park, 31 in Islip, 24 in Bridgeport, and 25 in White Plains. So as a result, we'll have blowing and drifting snow, and we're already seeing visibilities reduced down to a mile or less across much of the region. Still faring pretty good across Poughkeepsie and Hartford, but those areas will also see their visibilities reduced as we move along through the evening here. So it's only going to get worse from here, folks. A lot of snow is moving across the region. We're now starting to see the darker bands of the more intense snowfall starting to work their way inland and move their way northward. We could experience snowfall rates between 1 to 3 inches per hour. And when that happens, the snow really begins to pile up. I know some places haven't seen it being kind of piling up just yet, but that's going to be happening in a very short time frame here as we go through the next couple of hours. Here's a look at the future cast, and we'll see the darker shaded tones here encompassing much of the region here by 9 o'clock. That's when the snow will really be coming down. And then here we are after midnight, much darker shaded tones now pushing north into the Hudson Valley. Really intense snowfall rates happening across Long Island, the 5 boroughs, and the Jersey Shore. So overnight, it's really going to intensify. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll have a blanket of snow across the entire tri-state area. We could see upwards of about 2 feet across parts of the region. We'll talk more about that coming up.
All right, thank you so much, Audrey. The word historic is being used a lot for this blizzard, and if you are a longtime New Yorker, all of it may invoke memories of the blizzard of 1996, which paralyzed a significant chunk of the East Coast. Coming back, we're taking a look at the archives.
weather alert.
We're hearing up to 2 feet of snow in some parts. We're hearing wind gusts of over 70 miles per hour with this blizzard slamming the tri-state. It has us thinking back to big storms that we have weathered in the past. And what comes to mind is the blizzard of '96. Here's meteorologist Mike Woods with this Weather Extremes Fox 5 flashback.
It was the storm that brought the city that never sleeps to its knees.
It really isn't letting up at all.
The blizzard of '96 hitting the entire Northeast, burying New York and paralyzing the metropolitan area.
The extent of the snow, it's an enormous storm all along the entire coast. The moderate snow will continue off and on. At times it will be heavy. The blizzard warning continues right through the morning hours into early this afternoon.
Forecasting in the mid-1990s was much different than what we have today. The National Weather Service was in a period where they're rolling out new technology like Doppler radar. And despite the fact that we didn't have that modern equipment, the snowfall forecasts were largely accurate.
By midday on January 6th, the storm blanketed the city, with Central Park recording 20.2 inches.
Right now, we have 1,520 plows out. They've been out throughout the evening into the early morning. We will have a shift change at 7 and put them back out again. And we will be out throughout the day into the afternoon.
Well, Dick Oliver has made his way across town over to the sanitation facility there. Is there any salt left over there, Ollie?
Jim, the salt is here. The problem is the accumulations of snow have been so heavy that they quit the salting and they're simply plowing now. Some 1,520 plows. You can see them going by here down West Street, just off of the Henry Hudson Parkway.
The deluge of snow forced the closing of schools, Broadway, and even the New York Stock Exchange.
This emergency, of course, brings out the best in all of us, and the best part of us, the American Red Cross. Robert Wingate joins us to tell us about the Red Cross's activities overnight.
The Red Cross has literally hundreds of volunteers who've come out last night and this morning to help staff shelters throughout New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Right now, the Red Cross is operating a total of 25 snow shelters, 10 of them in New York City, and the rest of them along Long Island Sound, in Westchester, Connecticut, and up and down the New Jersey shore.
Residents were advised to stay home. The heavy snow led to dangerous driving conditions.
On a night like this, tow operator Dave Puck is much in demand. He's already towed countless crippled cars, driven by people who underestimated the power of this vicious storm.
It's just incredible. There's a lot of the ramps you can't get around, so a lot of people come into the ramp too fast and they spin out.
On Route 80, this Jeep is stranded, one of 200 Dave has seen since late today.
The fuel just cut right out, and that's how come we're getting stuck.
Hours ago, New Jersey officials declared a state of emergency. Since then, the storm has dumped about 18 inches of snow on North Jersey. Dave Puck's mission is to keep the 71 miles of Route 80 clear of stranded cars. You could help him by staying home in this weather.
The storm delivering wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour and snow drifts as high as 8 feet, burying the city and shutting down local airports.
Mother Nature closed the friendly skies today. Whiteout swept through local airports, halting all incoming and outgoing flights. At LaGuardia, planes sat idle on the runway. By early afternoon, no planes were taking off, and snowplows were out in full force.
I was supposed to fly out of Newark, and they canceled all my flights.
Kennedy Airport shut down shortly after 2 in the afternoon, with snow drifts as high as 2 feet.
I started out at 5 a.m. It's been total grief. We've been at the airport for hours. It's been pretty horrible.
And while the blizzard of '96 was one of the most significant weather events in New York City's history, it highlighted the city's resilience, stranding everyone in place for a moment in time, and perhaps even bringing New Yorkers together.
I think it's great.
How do you enjoy it?
I enjoy walking in it, the cold, the change in the seasons.
Oh, it's so pretty, especially by the park right here. If you go in the park, it's like a whole different atmosphere. Everything looks pretty. People are excited. They're nicer.
Mike Woods, Fox 5.
Well, the storm is just beginning to intensify, so Fox 5's winter weather alert coverage continues. Stay with us. States of emergency have been declared across our area. Schools in the city will be closed tomorrow. We are going over all the information you need to be aware of after this short break.
Where every o'clock news.
We've got dangerous and deadly conditions for a second time this young year. New York City is in a rare blizzard warning with all 5 boroughs under that warning, something the city has not seen since 2017. Welcome back to our extended winter weather alert coverage. I'm Arthur Chien. This storm is bringing with it the potential for heavy snow, strong winds, and even flooding in many parts of our area. Let's take a live look outside right now. We've got a split screen of the Lincoln Tunnel, and that's the inbound side. And on the other side of the screen, you see the Major Deegan Expressway. Everything should be slowing down. Travel bans are going into effect in a matter of 2.5 hours. Audrey Puente is now here with our forecast. Hi, Audrey.
Good evening, Arthur, and good evening, everyone. We have a blizzard warning for the entire tri-state area right through Monday afternoon here. We also have a winter storm warning for the areas shaded in pink. Interestingly to note is last night we had a winter storm watch north and west of this area, but now that has been canceled because now we're starting to see a sharp cutoff with our snowfall totals the further north and west you go from the city here. Now let's track the snow that we see right now. It's encompassing much of the area. We can see some darker shaded tones now rotating through portions of New Jersey, now heading for Long Island and even into coastal Connecticut. And that will slowly work its way further inland and northward. So everyone will get into an intense amount of snowfall as we go through the overnight hours and into the early part of your Monday here. So we're expecting the snowfall rates to be anywhere between 1 to 3 inches per hour as we go through this evening here. Blizzard conditions are expected right through Monday afternoon. Dangerous to impossible travel as our conditions deteriorate throughout the entire tri-state area. And we also expecting strong to damaging wind gusts right through your Monday. Snowfall totals will be most significant across New Jersey as well as Long Island and even into the 5 boroughs. Even as far as White Plains, 19 inches expected there. The area is shaded lighter here. This is where we're closing in on 2 feet in areas across Rockland and northern Westchester County too. Same thing across Long Island and most of New Jersey. Really from inland from the Jersey shores where I'm anticipating the highest snowfall totals in that part of the state. Coastal flooding will also be an issue at the times of high tide tonight as well as Monday morning. That's why the National Weather Service has issued a coastal flood warning for Long Island, the 5 boroughs, as well as all of the Jersey Shore here. With that, the times of high tide, we're expecting widespread, moderate coastal flooding. Dune erosion will be likely, and there will be high seas expected throughout all waters, and that also includes the Long Island Sound. Temperatures right now are mostly below freezing across the region, and that's why we're seeing mainly snow. These numbers are much colder than they were at this time yesterday, and our winds are now starting to pick up in speed too. We'll have blowing and drifting snow, which will reduce visibilities across the region. I'll talk all about it coming up. Arthur?
All right, Audrey, thank you so much. Well, the city, as you heard Audrey describe the standards that qualify for a blizzard, well, it's something we have not seen in a decade, and for that reason, there is a travel ban that goes into effect tonight. The simple warning to drivers is that they will not be able to see out their windshields. Fox 5's Kendall Green is live in Lower Manhattan with more on that part of our coverage. Good evening, Kendall.
Hey, good evening, Arthur. If you haven't gotten outside to get those needs, those essential goods, you may want to hurry up and do that within the next 2.5 hours because that's when the travel ban takes effect. City officials said that it should take effect around 9 p.m. tonight, and we shot a little bit of video of the conditions out here, and that's the reason why. But first, we want to show you how dangerous and deadly the snowstorm is out here. It was just a few weeks ago for New Yorkers with no place to go. With the city in response, they say they are stepping up their efforts with code blue measures, canvassing all 5 boroughs 24/7 and helping homeless New Yorkers get inside for some warmth. Now, Mayor Mamdani shares that they were able to secure dozens of placements, bringing homeless New Yorkers inside to safety, sharing there's no reason for anyone to be left outside of these conditions.
When we reach out to a homeless New Yorker, we don't just tell them that there is a congregate shelter opportunity for them to come inside. It can also be a single room. It could also perhaps be a hotel room. It could also be a safe haven. It could also be a warming center at a health and hospital site. Because I've visited a number of these different sites, and you see homeless New Yorkers respond differently to each of these options. We need to have all of them so that we can keep people safe.
Now, concerning tonight's travel ban, it's the first time in a decade the city has had to impose such a significant measure in preps for the second major storm in less than a month. Mayor Mamdani declared a state of emergency coupled with the all-out travel ban tonight. And part of that ban, all city streets, highways, and bridges will be closed to non-emergency traffic beginning at 9 p.m. Now, it will remain in effect through noon tomorrow, and the restriction includes cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes, with very few exemptions for essential emergency crews and critical service workers. Now, New Yorkers, they share how they're planning to cope with these conditions.
Hope everyone stays safe, so if the travel ban ensures that, then I'm glad to hear it. I did my grocery shopping. Trader Joe's is busy, as you can probably see, but yeah, I'll just, stay home. I get to work from home, which helps, so I feel okay about it. I feel like we'll be prepared.
Now, we and the city can't stress this part enough. If you see any New Yorker out here that's in need of shelter, or if you see them in distress, you're asked to call 311 as soon as you can. No one will be turned away for shelters throughout the city. But that's the latest here in Lower Manhattan. Kendall Green, Fox 5 News. Arthur?
All right, Kendall, thanks so much. Well, Kendall covered what's happening in the city. Let's talk about the state. Governor Hochul is asking New Yorkers to stay home during the storm, which she says is expected to be historic and uniquely dangerous.
When you look at the scale of the storm that's descending in our state, and actually in some parts starting already, this will be something the likes of which we've not seen in years. And what we're experiencing right now with just lighter flurries throughout, particularly downstate, is really just the calm before the storm.
And Governor Hochul is also warning that it's not just the snow or winds to be aware of, that some parts of New York City, Westchester, and Long Island should be on the lookout for flooding. She is sending a newly acquired snow and ice rescue vehicles, two of them, to Long Island in case people get stranded on the roads. The new vehicles hold up to 20 people. And separately, she says thousands of additional utility workers are now on standby, ready to respond. And let's take a look at the snow that's coming down at the Jersey Shore. This is in Cape May that you are looking at on your screen right now. The accumulation has begun in earnest there, and that's really what's moving from west to east across our coverage area. It is definitely not the day to be at the beach. We're on the boardwalk, and from the southernmost point of New Jersey to the north, let's see how they are holding up in Montclair, New Jersey. That's where our Teresa Priolo has been for us tonight. How you doing there, Teresa?
Yeah, Arthur, I can say the big thing that we've noticed in just the last half hour, yes, the snow is continuing to fall, and it feels like it's a lot heavier than it was earlier in terms of the actual, the snow that is falling. It's wetter, but the wind is also picking up too. Now, that is not deterring people on the roads, which is surprising considering the amount of snow that we've seen in just the last hour or so. I'll step out of the way so you can see Bloomfield Avenue here in Montclair, Essex County behind me. People are still out, but the good news is so are the plows and the salt spreaders, and we've even seen a PSE&G truck or two come by as well. So this is what the roads look like. We can also tell you, according to the governor, now buses, NJ Transit buses, have stopped, and in just a little while at 9 p.m., NJ Transit trains will stop as well. This, as the worst of this storm is still to come. So the governor was talking earlier about this being a doozy for the state of New Jersey. The entire state's under a blizzard warning. It is expected to be one of the worst storms in terms of snowfall and duration that we've seen since the late 90s, 1996. She is saying that over 100,000 tons of salt has been reserved just for the New Jersey Turnpike and the Garden State Parkway, and another 35,000 tons of salt is reserved just for some of the other state roads. They have thousands of crews on standby to handle this. Take a listen to the governor.
This is not a typical snowstorm. It's nothing like we've seen for almost 30 years. The last time we had all 21 counties under a blizzard warning was 1996. 9 o'clock tonight is when the state's travel ban goes into effect. So you need to be off the road by 9 o'clock tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that is just, a good warning to heed at this time. I am amazed at how fast people are going on these roads, given how slick they are. Arthur, when we talk to people here in Montclair, not only just walking along Bloomfield Avenue, but also outside of Whole Foods, the biggest thing they tell us that they are worried about is actually not the amount of accumulation that's going to come down, but they are concerned about power outages. That's the number one thing that they keep talking about. Perhaps they keep hearing people talk about how heavy this snow is. They're worried about it, just sitting on tree branches and power lines and things like that. So that's the number one thing. But I have to tell you, I also didn't find one person that didn't have their night completely mapped out, from one guy who was going to take a bath to another woman who already had her TV viewing planned out. So they are ready to hunker down. School's canceled for tomorrow, and everybody is going to be working remotely. Except for us. That's the latest from Montclair tonight. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Teresa. We continue tracking this second massive snowstorm of the year. Audrey Puente is going to be back after the short break with the latest on the path it's taking.
Tuesday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Audrey Puente. We have a blizzard warning in effect for the entire tri-state area right through Monday afternoon here. So we've been talking a lot about that. We're expecting a blizzard here. And what exactly is a blizzard? It's typically a winter storm with blowing snow, or at least large amounts of snow. The winds will be in excess of 35 miles per hour. Visibilities will be reduced to less than a quarter of a mile. And all of this, we should be lasting for at least 3 consecutive hours in order to classify a storm system as a blizzard. And that's exactly what we're expecting as we go through the next several hours into the overnight and tomorrow morning for your Monday. Right now, temperature is definitely cold enough for snow. We're near the freezing mark across the entire tri-state area, and our winds, they're picking up in speed. Right now, they're running between 15 to 20 miles per hour on average sustained. However, the wind gusts are as high as 32 miles per hour in Central Park, 31 in Islip, 24 in Bridgeport, and 25 over in White Plains. So as a result, we're getting blowing and drifting snow, and that's reducing visibilities now down down to a mile or less across much of the region here. Off to the north around Poughkeepsie, you're faring a little bit better, but conditions will be deteriorating for you as we move along through the rest of tonight. A look at the radar shows snow moving across the entire region. The darker shaded tones now creeping northward here. This is where we could find snowfall rates between 1 and 3 inches per hour. So it will be piling up as you go through the next several hours, and these darker shaded tones move even further north, allowing for everyone to experience moderate to heavy snowfall as we move along through the rest of tonight. It will get very dangerous to travel across the region as we go through the evening. This is why we have a travel ban in effect after about 9 p.m. and things will gradually deteriorate even further overnight, and tomorrow morning we'll wake up with a blanket of snow of at least a foot or more across much of the region. So look at the futurecast. Again, shows those darker shaded tones over the entire region here, all of New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, and even into the Hudson Valley. That lasts right through midnight. In fact, here we are at 2 a.m. and it gets even darker, indicating this is where we'll probably see about snowfall rates about 3 inches an hour, really piling up that snow overnight. And tomorrow morning when you wake up, we could see close to 2 feet across New Jersey, Long Island, as well as the city here and the 5 boroughs. The snow continues until about lunchtime tomorrow. The low will slowly exit out to the east here, so gradually we'll see improvement after about lunchtime, and we could even see the sun peeking through the clouds before it's all said and done. Then we turn to colder weather for Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine, but it will be windy with a temperature of only 30 degrees. Arthur, over to you.
All right, Audrey, thanks so much. As Audrey just pointed out, New York City under a state of emergency, and a travel ban goes into effect in a matter of about 2 hours. Up next, joining us live is the Deputy Commissioner of New York City Emergency Management to discuss what you need to know and what the city is doing to keep everything moving and safe. As we come back live right now, you're looking at road conditions out on eastern Long Island in Suffolk County, where wind gusts are expected to possibly exceed 70 miles an hour as they get up to maybe 2 feet of snow out there. We are in the middle of yet another potentially dangerous and deadly winter storm. This marks the second one of this 2026 that feels like it just got underway. Now, city officials are reassuring New Yorkers, meanwhile, in the city that the city is fully prepared for this storm with thousands of sanitation workers, hundreds of salt spreaders, and new strategies to keep the streets clear and safe. Fox 5's Michelle Ross reports from NYC EM headquarters in Brooklyn.
Sanitation says that their response to this storm has been well underway, with crews preparing days in advance to make sure that the streets and the sidewalks are passable and safe. In the last 24 hours, crews have fitted all sanitation vehicles with plows and chains ready to deploy the second conditions turn from rain to snow. More than 700 salt spreaders are standing by, and the city says it has hundreds of millions of pounds of salt on hand. Officials say weather conditions are expected to favor salt effectiveness, helping prevent ice from building up on the roadways. The number of emergency snow shovelers has nearly tripled from about 500 during the last storm to 1,400 this time around. And it's all hands on deck. Crews from other city agencies, including DOT, Parks, DEP, and NYPD, are also assisting with snow clearing operations. And of course, New York's strongest is always reliable.
We are in full force operation now. At 6 a.m. this morning, 2,600 sanitation workers reported to their garages, and they will work until 6 p.m. tonight, when an additional crews of 2,600 sanitation workers will report for another 12-hour overnight shift, and we'll continue this on. These 12-hour shifts will continue as long as necessary to get our city moving safely.
And summonses will be issued to property owners who do not clear the sidewalks in front of their properties of at least 4 feet to make room for wheelchairs and strollers. And if there is an unsheltered bus stop and curb ramp in front of their property, they're responsible for that too. Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
Now, for more on what NYC Emergency Management is doing, Commissioner Christina Farrell joins us live to break things down. Commissioner, thanks so much for being with us yet again. What can you tell us about how things are looking right now? Is it on track with what you expect?
Yeah, so far the forecast has really been right on point. I think I heard recently there are 3 inches of snow in Coney Island, 2 the rest of the city. And, but as your reporters have been saying, it's really ramping up. It was light for a while, moderate, and now we are getting into those heavy conditions that we're expecting overnight. And we're still on track, 17, 18 more inches, which is a lot of snow for New York City.
Now, we've covered that you have ordered a travel ban. What is going to be the main problem tonight? Is it just the roads? Is it mass transit? Where do you expect the major problems to be?
The travel ban is really to keep the roads clear. We want, public safety first. We don't want any tragic accidents, and we want the first responders who have to stay on the roads to be able to get 291 calls and to help people as they always do. The second is, we want to give sanitation. You just had the sanitation commissioner speaking. He has his, troops really out in force, and we want them to be able to clear the roads as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And the less cars on the road, the easier it is for them to do that.
Are you more concerned with power outages this time because the winds are going to be heavier?
Yes, that is. It's obviously warmer than it was the last time, which is good that we don't have those Arctic temps. But it's, it's a heavier snow. The winds are very high. And so we could see down branches. We could see power outages. That's why we have the Emergency Operations Center active since this morning. We have Con Ed here with us in person. We have the Parks Department. And we have our down tree task force on standby. If we start to see some down limbs and things that we need to address, we will activate them right into action.
And lastly, a quick question. Are there any lessons learned from the previous storm that's being applied this time?
Yeah, so, the snow laborers, getting them out earlier and getting more of them for sure. We have warming buses out again. We have learned some lessons from that. And, really just the over communication. People were on break. There was school break this week. People may have been away. This storm had a lot of forecasts. It changed a lot quickly. So we just, we've been sending a lot of Notify NYC messages on social media, talking to outlets such as yourself so people know what to expect and they know how to stay safe.
All right, Commissioner Christina Farrell, congratulations on your appointment and thanks so much for briefing us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back with more coverage. want to get out to Long Island now. We've got Hempstead Town Supervisor John Ferretti on the line. Sir, thanks so much for being with us. What are the concerns unique to where you are tonight?
Yeah, well, we're here in America's largest township. Our plows are out. We have over 1,200 miles of roadway to plow here in the town of Hempstead. We're asking residents to please get their cars off the roads, park them in their driveways, even on the grass if need be, to help our plows do their job. Make sure if you have a fire hydrant in front of your house, please shovel it out. Check in on any seniors in the neighborhood. And of course, here in all of Nassau County, we have a ban on non-essential vehicular traffic from 9 p.m. Sunday to 9 a.m. Monday. So please stay off the roads and let our plows do our job.
And how much are either power outages or flooding a concern in your area, sir?
Very big concern, especially we have a tremendous concern for coastal flooding. We're going to have winds approaching 40 to 50 miles per hour, which of course leads to coastal flooding. So we're very concerned with that. As for power outages, if you do have a power outage, of course, call PSEG. In an emergency, dial 911, and we have our Town of Hempstead non-emergency hotline, which is 516-489-5000.
Okay, and lastly, sir, the schools in your area, a lot of New York City schools are already canceled. How are they looking? Are they canceled out where you are as well?
Well, I know where my children go to school, the Levittown Public Schools, they have already canceled. And I suspect that a lot of other school districts will be canceling for Monday as well. But our goal is to have everything up and running and the streets clear by Tuesday morning. So that's our goal. But please, we ask residents to be patient. To get everything curb to curb is going to take a couple days, but we want to make sure that we have the roads drivable by Tuesday morning.
All right, Hempstead Town Supervisor John Ferretti, thank you so much for your time. And that's all we've got for our extended coverage of this blizzard. Fox 5's coverage of the storm continues at 8 p.m. on our free Fox Local app. And then we're going to be back on Fox 5 at 10 p.m. with the latest. Stay inside, stay safe.
Muddy paws.
Live now from Fox.
To be front and center for this storm are the Connecticut State Police and the Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. You're going to hear from Director Turner shortly, but I just want to share with you that I have met with the Colonel and his team, and they have already met. The district commanders throughout the state of Connecticut for the Connecticut State Police have already met, so they have all the information necessary to coordinate through this storm. The snow patrol for the Connecticut State Police is in effect. That is when troopers that are assigned to administrative duties are now going to be on the road to add more capacity for the patrols that are already in existence. And lastly, I want to assure you that the Connecticut State Police has a representative that will be assigned to the state EOC 24/7 throughout the course of this storm. I just want to share with you that in order for the state police to continue to respond to emergencies, and there will be emergencies, we need you, the motoring public, to stay off the road. Stay off the road so that they can get to where they need to be. And as you've heard from the governor already, check on a neighbor. Check on that neighbor who may have some issues. Just be a good neighbor. Thank you. Director Turner.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Bill Turner. I'm the State Emergency Management Director, and you'll sense some common themes here, but this storm is certainly going to be a lot different, and I don't want to discount the fact that it is going to be a very dangerous storm. We're looking at a multi-hazard event. We're not only talking heavy, wet snow, but also the potential for coastal flooding and very high winds. It's been many years since the entire state was under, an entire Connecticut was under a blizzard warning like we're under now. The good thing is we're all prepared. We're all ready to tackle this. We have a dedicated team ready to go that'll be activated as of 5 p.m. here at the State Emergency Operations Center, working behind the scenes to coordinate any unmet needs or resource requests, help the town emergency management directors and emergency operations center with their planning, and make sure that we're all working as a cohesive team to get through this together. But we also need the public to do